Today is a video that we have been supercharged for and waiting for since Thanksgiving when we built these reworkable models. Yes, it is time for the Natural History Museum build, review, add-on, city install. We're doing it all right after the intro. Hello and welcome to Bricks and Toys. Before we get into today's video, we have not one, but two Advent Calendar days to unbox. So let's go through our 4 Advent Calendars, unbox our third day, and then we'll go back through and we'll do our 4th day. So let's go ahead, let's start off with Harry Potter. So, starting off with Harry Potter, we're looking for day 3, upper right hand corner, up on the top level. So let's put this together and let's see what we have. So for day 3, it seems that we have some type of counter of some sort. Not exactly sure, but it looks like we may have some like pastries with like a cherry in a case. Not exactly sure what this is. So let's move on to Marvel. So with our Marvel calendar, day 3 is going to be right up here into the upper corner. And let's pull it out. And we have a Spider-Man in a Christmas sweater. Let's put this together and see what he looks like really quick. So here we have the Spider-Man in a Christmas sweater. He's got his face on his sweater as well as a back print on his torso that says Spider-Man. This is one of the minifigures I was really looking forward to in this set. So now moving along to 2022 Star Wars. Let's see what we get for day number 3. We have a build of some sort. Let's put it together really quick. So for the day 3 of the 2022, we have whatever this is. Maybe you guys in the comments below can help me figure out what this is. But in the meantime, I'm probably going to look it up online. So now let's move on to our next year, which is going to be our 2023. Again, upper corner. And then we have another small build. So let's put this one together and see what it is. So for day 3 of our 2023, looks like we have a little N1 Starfighter. Not sure if this is prequel or if this is the Mando one. There's really no defining characteristics of that. So that's our day 3. Now let's repeat the process. Go back to Harry Potter for today, which is day 4 of December. Now this one is going to be actually number 2 on the top row, and it looks like we have maybe a wanted poster. Let's put it together. So yes, that is a Sirius Black Prisoner of Azkaban Hogsmeade wanted poster for day 4 of the Advent calendars. Now let's move on to Marvel. Right here. Again, number 2, top row. And looks like we have an accessories pack. A gold accessories pack, that is. Now, I'm not going to put this together because I just want to show you guys it in the bag. This is all it is. Nothing to put together, just pearl gold webbing. I think there's something cool with this. Not quite sure. So, now, let's go up to our 2022. And we'll go day 4 right here. I don't know why I had to look. I should know. And let me build it really quick. So for day 4 on 2022, we're looking at what I'm thinking is a very miniature scale Star Destroyer. Pretty cool. So now we go to 2023, and let's see what we have on day 4 of 2023. Looks like we have a buildable droid. Let's put it together really quick and let's see what it is. So for day 4 on the 2023, it looks like we got some type of Christmas-themed Star Wars droid. Interesting. So that concludes our Advent calendars for today's video. So now let's get into today's video, the Natural History Museum. So now on to today's video of the Natural History Museum. I am very, very excited for this build because since I started in LEGO, I have been really into the LEGO city. It all started with the A-frame cabin, and now we are here wanting every modular building for the LEGO city. And when I found out that we're getting this a month early, I was like, yes. And I did the whole build series earlier in the end of the month of November, trying to make room for the Avengers Tower, which we did last week, and now we are here doing the Natural History Museum, filling in that giant vacant space that I had to make in the city. This is, let me see, 2¼ base plates big. So here you can see the 2 base plates and then the quarter of one right here. So this is a total of, I believe, 72 studs. And if you guys look at this base plate, you guys can see I put red dots already down the sides. That allows me 12 studs on either side with 48 studs in the middle. As you guys know from the Thanksgiving episode, we made this cafe and tours buildings to go on either side. And if my math is correct, one building should go all the way up to this lip, which is a really nice sidewalk finishing touch I like to have. And the same thing goes for the one over here. Now this is the side that overlooks the Lego City edge. So I gotta think of something really interesting to do right here, so it doesn't look like the minifigs can walk out of the tour shop and go right onto the floor and die. We've all seen the Lego movie. We know what happens when they fall out of the Lego City. They go under the appliance and then they have to go back in time and be the bad guy. We don't want that for our minifigures. That gets out of control. So that's the base plate that we're putting it on. That's where we have to land it. And then what we're going to do before we put on the buildings is we are going to do the full build and review. So before we get to the buildings, that we now need to go and start going over this set together. So as you guys know from the Thanksgiving episode, that is the cafe. I now have all the bricks to make the lettering. I've already installed it, so that is done. Same thing with the tours. I got the lettering all done. And the really cool thing about those buildings with the brick built lettering, I feel like it really fits in because I mentioned this, that I was going to talk about this back in that Thanksgiving episode, to where I feel like the Natural History Museum, even though it's amazing being the biggest set ever for a modular, only a few pieces bigger than the assembly square, whatever, Lego, I see what you're playing at, but it is a step back in time. Ever since the detective's office, we have got multiple levels of a face per every modular building, where they put on a normal modular building, then they put maybe a 6 or 8 stud wide building next to it, or they do a half and half. What I'm trying to say is that they contour the buildings with different contrasting colors, businesses, and it looks really freaking cool. Just like the one that this one is replacing, the assembly square. It was basically a C-shaped building. It had all this really cool architecture in it, a water fountain in the middle. Just really nice. And even like, well, what's supposed to be last year's, the Jazz Club, that has a nice little pizzeria right next to a jazz club. I believe it's colors of yellow, red, bright blue. It just really pops. But they're taking a step back from when they started doing that in 2015 with this modular building. And that's why I think the brick built lettering is a good fit for this building. Because as you guys know, if they can print the names of the buildings, they do. So with this one being a step back, the brick built lettering just feels right. And the reason I say it's a step back is because it's one solid 48 stud wide building. There is no additions to this. There is no pizza shops attached. There is no barber shops and all that hoopla that we have learned to enjoy over the last 8 years of modular buildings. It is just that. That's it. So for all of you guys out there who love your modular buildings like the Town Hall and all of those, Palace Cinema, and all the ones before it, Fire Brigade, where it's just the one building, flat on a base plate, and you guys missed that, well guys, Natural History Museum is here to take you back in time to when the modulars were like that. My personal stance on this issue is I like the idea of a 48 stud building. I just am going to miss, for this 1 year hopefully, having that contrasting look. I like things to look busy with Lego, but not too busy, and the way that they do their modulars really keeps it you know, in the right sweet spot. Now, one of the things I did want to say is people have talked about it, and I've heard people in line and had the discussion, and we all are kind of wondering why a museum. I'm on the fence. I can go either way. If it looks cool and it goes into the Lego City, that's all I really care, because I want my Lego City to look like it's bustling and it's busy and populated. That's my goal. But for some other people out there, they were wondering about a hospital. I know I kind of was leaning towards a hospital too. We have a fire station, we have a police station, maybe a hospital. We have a bookstore, which could constitute as a library if you want to, and a town hall, so maybe a post office. But we didn't get neither a post office or a hospital. We got this, obviously. So that is one of the things that I did want to note. And I'm kind of wondering with the idea with Lego, if they did the museum first before maybe a hospital or a post office or something of that nature, because they wanted to fill in a 48 stud base plate modular, because we have the assembly square going out this December, and maybe they felt like they needed to bring another one in to replace it, and this was the option. Maybe to get a post office or a hospital, they'll do it on a 32 by 32 base plate. That way they can go high and narrow with it instead of this big. So maybe that's the thinking behind that. They have it paired up with the Jazz Club, which again, like I said, is that beautiful pizzeria offset from the Jazz Club. It's just, when you look at this from the Boutique Hotel in 2022 to the Jazz Club to here, you can see what I mean by how it looks like it's taken a step back. That is the initial thoughts. That is the look at the box. Now let's go ahead, let's cut open this box and let's see what we have in terms of this build. So one of the things that I'm really curious about with this building is the building stages per bag. With the Creator Expert Assembly Square, we got 6 building stages and 6 bags. That was one of the hugest complaints when I researched that set. Honestly, I was expecting it by the time I built it, knowing what I knew, but a lot of people, they didn't like the fact that it was such a big building over such a small span. Let's go ahead, let's cut open this box, let's see how this one is done. So we have 3 pieces of tape, 1, 2, and 3, and that gets the job done. So I can see up to 27 bags right here. And is there another box in here? Yes. So there is an additional box in the set. So let's go ahead, let's pour out these bags. And let's get our next box. And here we have our little white box. So looking at these bags, I do see a bag 30 now. 30 bags to make this 4,000 piece set. And like I said, Assembly Square was 6 bags for its 4,000 pieces. So you guys can see the difference of time. As the Righteous Brothers once sang, time can do so much. And there we go with stuff on the floor. We do have the half base as well as a full base plate. And then we have our books. So I'm already thinking 30 bags. Let's see what we have. Hopefully it's all printed elements, which we have. What do we have here? Not stickers, but yet we have the banners that go by the museum. Just double check. Looks like they are staying true to having only printed elements, which is good. We have our barcode on the front, get our 20 points. For the build, we are looking at 552 building steps and 384 pages. Just like with the Assembly Square, it is a pretty hardy book. Now let's see how we build it by looking at our book. So actually the book does not break down the build in steps. You literally just go straight in with your half base plate and begin the build. So that's not really fun. So let's go into the back of the book and let's see if we can find that point. So 33 bags is going to be our final number on how big this set is. As we are doing lately, we are going to go to a time lapse. So for me, I'm going to take a few days, enjoy myself, enjoy this build. And for you guys are going to get to see it done in about a minute or so. So enjoy the time lapse and then stay tuned for the review because we have a lot to talk about with this set. There's a lot of cool techniques that I cannot wait to experience and share them with you guys. So we'll see you back here soon. Okay, so we're starting our time lapse now, and the way that the build goes is you start with the first 16 studs, and then you go over and start building onto the next 32. Obviously we had the whole mills plate. As you guys can see, there is a little bit of a dinosaur thing that we are putting in there that's under the stairs. Now we're putting up the walls. Nothing really too exciting here, just doors and olive green bricks and dark tan bricks. Now you can see that we're starting to put the final touches on this level. There are those nice brick built columns. Those columns are built rather nicely. And here we are building our dinosaur. Now we are going on to our second level. Just for reference, the lower level is about 23 bags to build, and then the second level is about 9 bags to build. There you can see the solar and space exhibits going in, and then back to the olive green bricks. And then the roof is about 8 bags to build as well. So that's how it usually goes down. Usually takes about 2 to 3 hours per 8 bags to build. And now we are working on the roof. Now the roof is one of the most part-intensive roofs I've ever really had to build, and it is one of the more heavier roofs. As you can see, the office of the curator is going in, and the curator is laying out while we are getting this built. Now we're putting in those nice little roof structures, and now we are building the skylights that go on the roof. And that will finish us up. Now, to the review. It's time to do our review of the Natural History Museum. And guys, I'm just going to start this off by saying that this video, or this build, it's very, very detailed. It's very nice, but this is definitely not at the top of my list of modulars. Let's go ahead and let's start unfolding, and then we'll get more to that later. So let's just start off with the top and work our way down. We have some cherry leaves up there with the very beautiful skylight windows. I think that is a nice feature. More skylight in this little room. More on that room later. And another skylight curved window pane up there. Really nice dark bluish gray work for all the roof panels with some nice light bluish gray accents. Micro figures making up the corners of the museum roof there. This is one of the heaviest roofs I've ever had to build in a modular building. We have some nice ingot tiles making a nice edge work. And then we go into this nice overhang part of the roof that is a separate piece that you build that kind of goes in and out in a really weird way. It is a really different, unique build. Then we start coming down. We do have our first minifigure to show here, and he is the window washer. In his little thing, you can see a bucket with some spilled water. He's got his levers. He's got his squeegee. He can lift him up and look at the window but that is behind him. And then he's just falling over like he's drunk. So we do have these banners. Again, behind the banners are windows. That one says Explore the Future. Then here we have the second story windows. Can't really see it, but on that center one, there is a huge ass scratch on my brand new window. Thank you, Lego, for your traditional way of packing your windows. Another window behind that banner. And that one says Go Back in Time. Then we have our other window right there with that nice little cherry blossom type looking tree. We have two more windows down at the bottom. As you can see, the archways above the windows are different than on the top. We do have these minifigure statues that are a lot like the ones in Rivendell. They probably are the same, just obvious. We do have a little teeny printed tile that says Museum. Probably the smallest indication of what it is that I've ever seen on a modular building. Then we have two more windows, again, different archways above the windows, with another one of those minifigs from the Rivendell set. We have a male on that side, female on that side. We do have a little garden bed with some really nice fencing. I really like this cute little fencing. And then the same thing over here. Coming down to the sidewalk, we do have a little older lady, looks like, eating some cookies. Looks like she's about to send a letter out. So before she sent the letter out, figured probably eat a cookie, looks like. And she is sitting next to the mailbox. So mailbox on one side, letter on the other, but cookie is the priority. And looks like she is feeding some of those cookies to the birds. We do have some more of those leaves behind this guy. Looks like he's trying to sweep them up. Looks like we have a mom and a son who just had an awesome time at the museum. Then we have our curator, more leaves. Then we have a dog that looks like it stole one of the bones from the museum. And then we have one of the museum workers chasing after the dog with our traditional light pole. And that is just 4 minutes of us talking about the front. Now, the sides are plain, which I've said since Thanksgiving that I look forward to that being a problem. And then we come into the back. More of those cherry blossom leaf looking thingamajigs. And then we do have a little telescope right there. And then we do have a little door that opens up where we can get down the stairs into the museum. Pretty cool. And then we have the back. We have a drainage pipe going all the way down the back. And then when the water leaks, there is some leaves being born, probably some weeds. We do have some very minimalistic windows here all around with a very basic door and a little trash can. When you build the set, the trash can, you put the dog back here, and then you put all the stuff that holds the bone and the person running in the trash can. It's kind of a weird thing that Lego did with that. There is not a lot of back real estate, only about 3 studs off the back of the base plate. And then over here, we have the other side, which is, like I said, just plain. So going into our first room is going to be this room right here. As you can see, it has that nice little skylight, but we can easily pull this back wall off and look into the curator's study. It looks like he does have a couple of awards because he's made a few documentaries that has aired at the Palace Cinema. He's got a compass, typewriter, and a map. It looks like he's got a little biome as well as some parchment rolls on either side of his desk with a nice little lamp. Just a really interesting touch for the top of this building. Putting the door back on, we are ready to go inside this museum. The roof comes off in this big chunk, just like that. Like I said, this is very heavy for a roof. That window washer does come off just like that. It folds out of the way. Then I just smack the guy with it. And then we come inside and we start looking at all of the details. Here are some statues that are made to resemble the 3 original Lego themes. And then we have, looks like a dinosaur head sticking out. We'll get to that a little bit later. Then we have the solar system. Trying to get my camera to focus in here, just like usual. Then we have a little space theme right there. Looks like another little telescope with a meteorite. Let's spin this bad boy around. Nice like that. We have a little boat anchor. You can see that dinosaur head a little bit better. Looks like we have a rocket launch with a nod to the space theme right there. These stairs are built really cool. They are built using these weird little triangular bricks, and when you turn them perfectly on at the right angle, they make a nice little staircase. Really like those stairs. I think that is a really good touch. Now you do see a little bit of a blockage right here because I think only the curator is allowed to come up these stairs and access the roof. Probably the insurance for the museum does not cover that. Then the next up was we do give it a good yank, and then we can remove the entire roof just like that. When you remove this roof, you do want to be careful not to take out your dinosaur. This is one of the coolest features of the set, is the pull-outable dinosaur. As you guys can see, it's got some places that it rests on, and it goes in just like that. So that is super cool, and does take up a good chunk of pieces. I'm gonna leave him out so we can get a better look at the set. Along the wall, looks like we have a fossil with a saber-toothed tiger skull. And then we have a little bit of a door right there that goes into, looks like a little office that goes out the back. We'll check that out here in a second. And then we have the dinosaur poop with some stairs and some dinosaur eggs. Not a lot of detail on the walls on this portion. And then we do go into the center section here, which has a magnifying glass, looks like some books, some souvenirs, and a cash register. And that's what goes into the front of the museum. Now, one really cool feature with this set is you can pull out this interior wall and see where those doorways go. That one goes right out the back. Looks like there's a little bone inspection station. If you look at the other side of the wall, you can see a clock with some bones. Then on this side, we have, looks like some rolls of toilet paper, because that is a John. We all know how Lego likes to put the pooper in their sets. If my camera will focus correctly. There. So there is the John. And you can also look out the window while you poop. So I just realized that. That's pretty cool. And again, that piece just goes in super easy. Just like that. Then we have our next set of stairs. As you can see, that's the doorway. Looks like we do have some broken pottery. Not good. That's why there's nothing on display right there. And then we do have a bench under those stairs. Looks like some more ancient pottery. Coming over here, looks like we have a thing of the Earth's core, as well as a little volcano. Spinning it around, we can see that we have some more of like the stalagmites and geodes and stuff, representing parts of the Earth. And then we can see some of those stairs in right there. So that wraps it up for the museum. Now we need to start discussing these buildings. One really cool thing I wanted to state on this portion of the video is if you guys look at these intricate little guardrails right here, those I accidentally installed on these builds, which is kind of cool. I did not expect it. Let me go over here and pull this out. You guys can see. So as you guys can see there, I use those same guardrails in these buildings. These buildings did not call for those guardrails. They called for some other ones that had the normal bars that go up and down. So that's a happy little accident, as Bob Ross would say. So now let's put you guys on a tripod and let's discuss putting all this together. So a couple of the little things that I did want to note about this set that I forgot to say during that little part was these columns. These columns are actually really awesome, and I really admire the designer's work to make these columns. I forgot to mention that, and I did want to say it. I also did want to mention, who else out there cannot get their 20 points from their barcode? What the hell, Lego? For some reason it says that the set is a natural history museum, but it is not registered as a set that can be registered. Okay, so meat and potatoes of this next segment. Now we want to take these buildings over here that you guys can't see in frame and bring them over into here. Now I want to make this a quick little segment because you guys have already seen me build these buildings, and you guys don't need to see much more about these. But here is the dealio. So this is how they're designed to go. Now that looks pretty cool. We are so close right now to making this one of my favorite modular buildings. And I know I said when I started the review segment on the earlier part of this, where I said this is not my favorite. Well, I'm glad that I listened to my wife about possibly building these buildings, because these buildings will make this my favorite. Now, let's get some elephants out of the room. Now, this set was not released, and I don't believe Brick Artisan had this set when he built these models. The reason I believe that is because there is these nice stone masonry olive green bricks that are not featured in these side buildings. That's just a little detail. The next little detail that I notice is we have single windows compared to double windows, but I think that works out to our benefit, and I think that'll be fine. The next little detail that I that I noticed as kind of like a bugging point for me is there is a nice little ledge on this tan that goes across the top floor here. Now that is not existent on this part of the model. So those are like 3 key details that kind of make these side buildings look a little bit awkward, but you really are having to look for those issues. Now the next little thing is I would like to try to maybe take this chunk, extend it over and into here, but then that would cause a lot of recreation with all of this, and as you guys know, I don't like to majorly remodify my buildings. I like my buildings to stay pretty much stock, so if anything ever happens, I can easily, or whoever can easily take these buildings and resell them for themselves. So I am going to put some extra trim right here at the top to cover up these studs of these buildings, but other than that, I'm going to keep this roof blank, and then maybe over time I might put another column like this, like copy this over into this to kind of give it something else, because that difference in the roof is a major detail. So, as you guys can see, this is what we're going to do. I need to take these buildings off of these green plates and now put them directly onto this plate. But I need to make a decision when I do this because I'm thinking that I don't want it flush. I don't think putting it flush would be a good idea. Because if you guys look at the museum, the front comes out at you, the ends go inwards of you, then the sides come out you a little bit. But what if we take one stud and go forward, one click, just like that. And now that adds just the right amount of depth on these corners. So now we have these out a little bit, those in a little bit, those in a little bit more, and then we have that front coming out at you. And I think that's how we're going to do it. And when I do the outside sidewalks and stuff, I will be able to blend the sidewalks in much better to the original set. So now what we're going to do, now that we're done talking about all of this, is we're going to go to a time lapse again, and you guys are going to watch me extract these buildings off of these plates, transfer the tiles, transfer everything over, and then get everything tiled off and bricked off. So when we come back on our last little overview, everything should be done and ready to go into the Lego City. Let's get to work. Okay guys, I am done with the work, and now let's come on out and let's take a look. And there it is. So as you guys know, there are the issues of getting these little ledges right here. They're not here as well. These nice masonry bricks, they're not present on this one. So those are like the 2 little teeny issues that I had, but the biggest issue was with the roof. If you guys remember when I built these on the Thanksgiving episode, there were some white studs here. You could see all back throughout there of where we built the sign that said cafes and tours on the other side. And what I ended up doing is using some 1x brick and kind of boxed this all around. Then I used all of my leftover cheese slopes from all the sets I've ever built to make this nice little slopey look. Then I used some black that kind of matches with the roof and this guy on the thing to kind of like box in the corners. So now that takes care of the glaring issue that is getting the roof to look kind of cohesive with the original model. And I think that looks really good. And it's a good little tie-in. I don't have a lot of extra bricks, but I do save all my little bricks from the set, which was able to do this. This is why you save your small bricks left over from every Lego set you build. It's because you never know when you're going to start trying your own creations out or putting your own creation on someone else's creation, like with these buildings, and needing those bricks. In terms of that, right down here, I'm not sure how good you can see it because of the lighting. I did use leftover bricks to bring in the fence to go in through here. And I also ended up using some leftover fence pieces that matched the interior of the museum to make that edge so the minifigures don't walk out. They can only walk in, but they can't walk out. So that is a very important detail. I went with all light bluish gray because I like light bluish gray to surround the buildings and also the sidewalks. So that's why that went like that. I did manage to reuse the little hat stand. If you guys watched the Thanksgiving episode, I wasn't sure what all I was going to keep when I did the actual model. Looking over here, you can see, again, light bluish gray making up all of those little areas. Plus there's a little table where people are having some food. Again, I added the little fence piece right there. And I also reduced the brown stud that goes right there and capped it off with a tan little tile that blends in. Coming over here, that light bluish gray along the building, along the sidewalk. The signage looks really good with all that gray surrounding it, just like the rest of the building. There's a little step up right here. If you guys want a tour of inside of these little rebrickable buildings from Brick Artisan, he is the designer that did the little side buildings. There is a whole episode of me building those, and that's where you can get that information. This is just putting everything together so you guys can see it all as a whole and on the single base plate. Now what I want to go and do is actually put it into the Lego City. But before I do that, I do want to show you guys the back of this massive, massive model. And that's what the back looks like when it's all done. Now we only have one stud left over going into the 3 and going over into the 1. The most important thing about all of this is the museum is still separate from those buildings. Those buildings do not go into the museum or are attached in any way, and that's the way that I wanted it. So it's 3 roofs, 3 levels, and then 3 lowered parts. Let's go put it in the Lego City. Okay, here we come, everybody. We are coming in with the piece. And in. Ta-da! Just like that. And there is our museum. Holy shit talkie, everybody. So now what we need to do really quick is take off these minifigures. And we need to take out and get these sidewalks fixed. So let's fix these sidewalks really quick, and we'll be right back to show you guys what it all looks like when it's done. And there it is, everybody. Done. Complete. Finally. Look at that. That is a complete unit. I like that little fencing I did right there to protect the minifigs from falling off the edge. I did do a little wrap-up line across the bottom here. That way it looks kind of complete. There's our little cafe. Really freaking cool. This came out really nice, everybody. Just in the grand scheme of everything, it's just, yeah, that's cool. And there we have it for the Natural History Museum video. Hopefully this video didn't go on too long, but I'm really hoping that I put in a lot of really cool details for you guys to consider when you do your Natural History Museum. If you guys have this problem, hopefully the video that I did on Thanksgiving that refers to how to build these is a huge help. And then this video on how to make them work with the museum helps you as well. For me, this was the best idea that my wife and I could come up with on how to make this building actually work. When it comes to the Natural History Museum, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not my favorite. It's not one that I would choose to buy. Hell, I would buy the Boutique Hotel over this. Not the bookstore. I'd buy this over the bookstore. The bookstore, by the way, is my most hated modular. Right behind that is the Boutique Hotel. Now, the Boutique Hotel is lovely. The reason that I hate the Boutique Hotel is because it's so hard to place in my Lego city. It is at a really odd angle. It's beautiful from almost every side but one. So when you got to place it, it's just so difficult. This one is in between those two at the bottom. It's just, to me, it's a step back doing one solid building compared to contrasting and layering and moving things around. As you guys know, that's something that I really like with modulars. I like it when they're staggered. That's why when I did this, I figured out the best thing to do would be to move these side buildings up one stud. That way, there's some layering, there's some staggering. There's probably a Lego term for it out there, but I don't know what it is. So, I'm really happy with this result. I'm really happy how I could change the little things that I could with the small parts that I have left over to really make these side buildings from Brick Artisan really blend in really good with the museum. Looking at it in the Lego City compared to this all right here in front of me, the Bugle, the Avengers Tower, it doesn't quite work for me. It doesn't make me comfortable. It on its own looks magnificent. One really good thing is I believe that the designer that did the police station did this, and now those buildings are in front of each other. So that's a good partnership, I guess. But on that one, everybody, that is Natural History Museum. It's not my favorite. Is it a good value for $300? Well, yeah, you could say it is. But if you guys are struggling for cash and you want to do a building and you haven't done them all, maybe try the Boutique Hotel or the Jazz Club. Those two I know will be around, I think, for a while. They're, Boutique Hotel, Jazz Club, Police Station, these are all better modulars to spend your hard-earned money on compared to this. This project in total did cost me about $500. And it is about 6 to 6,200 pieces, depending on, how exact you want to get. So it is an awesome big build. It goes this way instead of this way, like the Bugle or the Avengers Tower. But I don't know how I feel telling everybody to go and get it, because I don't feel that way. But if you guys want it, it's a good build. It's fun. It has its Easter eggs. There is some fossils below the floor plan I forgot to mention that's thrown in there. Building this modular building was just going with the notions. It was more of an adventure building the side buildings than it was building the actual thing. Because I'm not feeling it. I mean, it is what it is, guys. So with that is today's video. I want to say, you guys can leave thanks. There's a little link right below the screen. You can hit that, leave a donation. If you guys do that, all that goes towards Lego sets, just like this, MOCs, just like this. Not mine, Brick Artisan's MOC, but you guys get the point. We can build stuff. Drop your comments down below. What do you think about the Natural History Museum on its own? What do you think about the additions paired with it? And how do you feel about it in the Lego City? Do you guys like it? Do you guys like what I did with it? Let me know. And on that one, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and you all have a great rest of your day.